Trump's new tariffs were just announced, and this can seem extremely dire for D2C brands. But is it? I know you have multiple concerns: rising inventory costs, potentially delayed shipments. Like, these are valid concerns. But in today's video, I'm going to break it down for you to really showcase like what's happening, what you can do about it, and how you can navigate this situation with your own brand. So let's get into it. So what happened? So Trump announced tariff increase 10% on products that are being manufactured in China. What else happened? He got rid of the de minimis rule. That's kind of fun to say. De minimis. De minimis. De minimis. I'm going to keep saying it like that every time I say it. De minimis. Okay, so he got rid of that. So basically what that rule instated was products that were valued under $800 could get in with no tariffs and just kind of got shipped right in. So hello a la Temu, hello a la Shein, that could just ship directly from China to the United States. And people got used to that. Well, you know, you see a product, we'll wait 2 weeks to get it for 50% off. Well, that's no longer happening. So when you look at your own brand, there is potentially a competitive advantage that has just been rolled your way if you are combating products that are on Temu or Shein. Why? Because they don't just have to now go through the 10% tariff. They go through all tariffs that are implemented, and they go through a screening process now. So could be even further delays. Okay, gonna put that on the side because let's get into your company and what's happening with you. So this is for brands that are manufacturing in China. There is a 10% tariff that has been implemented. Now, he had mentioned Canada and Mexico. So one of the potential suggestions would be like, well, just manufacture in another country. Well, it could be coming for that country as well. There is a little bit of a delay. Now, there are advantages and disadvantages for potential strategies here. But just having said that, there are people manufacturing in Mexico that are still worried about potential tariffs coming their way. So let's focus on China. Let's just say you're going to stay there and manufacture, although you could go to outsourced countries around that region, but you want to make sure that you have the skilled labor, that they have the skilled labor for whatever product you are selling and producing. You do not want to have your product degraded just to try and avoid this 10% tariff. Now, products coming in, 10% tariff. So let's just give a hypothetical. Your product, you get it manufactured. I'm going to use, you have 80% gross margin. So you sell it for 100 AOV, just say one product, $100, costs you $22. So that is a cost of goods percentage of 20%. Now I break that down. Let's add 10% to that. So we're at, $22. Now you're at 22%, right? So you went from 80% margin to 78% margin. So how much is it going to take to make that up? Well, now if your product is costing you $22 and you want to stay at that 80% margin, now you're going to have to increase your price to the consumer by that 10%. And I know that this can be scary. So there's a few things that you can do to navigate. One, I'm going to tell you this. Every brand that I've worked with, the founder is always hesitant to raise prices. There's just something internal in us, right? Conversion rates are going to go down. Not as many people are going to purchase, right? Then we run this analysis of, well, that's okay if not as many people. It doesn't have an effect on any of that. Like, I've seen people raise prices and it's just business as usual. More money's coming in. So don't get crazy with it, but like the consumer is expecting, like as consumers, we understand, we hear the news, we know what's happening. People are still buying eggs when they used to buy it at $2. Now they're $8, depending on if you're pasture raised. Okay. Anyways, if you can, now is the time to increase your prices. Now, if you have to stay at that margin, then you can do it. Number two, go back to your manufacturer and split the difference. Right? I've had clients that have gone back and have negotiated a 5% reduction in their cost. So now their increase is only at 5%, and then we can do whatever we want on the pricing. We just increase it 5%. We can increase it 10% and build more margin into it. But go back to your manufacturer and negotiate the cost that you are paying them. If they're not willing to negotiate, then look for other manufacturers. Like, there is skilled labor in specific countries, right? I used to be in the golf industry, and the skilled labor used to be in Mexico. Then it got taken to China. Like, that's where the skilled labor is. Now they're still manufacturing in Mexico, but most of the skilled labor where people get their manufacturing done is in China. So whatever your product is, there could be other countries that have that skilled labor for your particular product. Again, you want to focus on your product quality as well. Do not sacrifice on that. Another aspect is to make sure that you optimize your inventory. You want to make sure that you are not deploying too much cash outlay there. We do have clients that airship a lot in. So understanding that you might have more cash out now, but get on ocean, right? So you have this added tariff. If you could decrease your inbound shipping cost, then utilize ocean. I mean, I have seen where it only takes like a week longer in certain situations. Now, again, that's not gospel. So again, just, work with your manufacturer, work with your supply chain manager, work with your freight forwarder, and just understand what are the potential implications. But going from air to ocean could shed 50% off of the inbound freight that you are currently paying if you're on air shipment, right? So again, what do I mean by optimize your inventory? Just making sure that you have enough that you're not going to run out. Like, we don't want to overextend on a new product when we haven't actually tested the market if they're going to like it, right? So we don't want to order a bunch of product. Now we're paying this 10% tariff and then the product doesn't move. Another option that I have seen some of our clients start doing is bundling, right? So like, if we can add bigger bundles, increase our average order value, now we are saving on shipping because we're shipping more in one package to the end customer. We don't have multiple packages going out. We don't have multiple shipping fees by each of these products, right? So again, you should be doing this anyway, but if this is the wake-up call that's causing you to do it, then make sure that you get this implemented. All right, another aspect is to go back to your forecast and make sure that you build this into your cost of goods sold. If you're manufacturing here in the States, this doesn't apply to you. This is only, I'm talking about when you have your manufacturing over in China, which is a lot of D2C brands. But go back, adjust your forecast, adjust your cash flow, because that is going to change. And just make sure you understand the implications in your own business. And once you see that, then you can make these pivots and these adjustments that are needed so that it's not so scary. Like when we're talking about a potential 5% increase, if you can negotiate with, but let's say, 10%, like we're going from 80% gross margins to 78% gross margins. You can deal with that. We can figure out ways to offset that and to progress forward and still be on the same trajectory that you were on before these got implemented. So I just came on. I wanted to do this rant, but I'm going to end it with this. If you don't know your numbers, shoot me a message. I am more than happy to walk you through this because it is so important. Like, if you don't know your numbers now, you don't understand the implications that this could have on your brand moving forward. So you need to understand where you're currently at. What does this mean for my business moving forward? And if you don't understand that, then you're just kind of flying blind. You're not going to truly understand where you're headed this year with your brand. You have to get these numbers in front of you and you have to be looking at them on a consistent basis. So if you don't have that piece in front of you, if you just want to hop on a call to see like what this potentially could mean for your brand and where you could pivot and what are some other options that you could consider, shoot me a message. I am more than happy to connect with you and give you my advice and my strategic advice of what I would do within your brand. Again, we will see you next time.